What is up, everybody? How are you doing today? Oh boy, we got a good beer. John's making that face. It's gonna be a good Friday. Happy Friday, October 16th, and welcome to the Fantasy Tap. John, you okay over there?
I'm doing good.
Good? You're doing great.
Doing good.
You're doing great.
Feeling a little warm.
Ooh, yes, indeed. I think the guy was right. I think it's like 55 degrees right now if I had to stick a thermometer in it. It's good. You can get that spice. I like it. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, again, welcome into the Fantasy Tap. We just cracked our beer of the day, the Marauders Mutiny Winter Warmer. Pretty high ABV. They were aged in Dominican rum barrels. So you really get that rum taste, which I like.
Yeah, it gives a nice little sweetness in the rum, actually, because, yeah,
it's good. Ooh. So,
but no, it is noted to be a winter warmer, and does have a lot of spice behind it.
Yeah.
Not terrible.
No, not at all. We'll get through it, but so far, first couple sips, I really like it. It's by Mash Monkey Brewing Company out of Sebastian, Florida, our hometown. But anyways, we are excited for this episode. We've got our weekend roundup. Man, that thing exploded. I got beer everywhere. We're excited for our weekend roundup. Of course, we've got huge news. Talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, one of their new running backs, new additions. And then, of course, we've got our question of the day. So you want to jump into that?
Yeah, so due to, speaking of their new running back, with him leaving the Jets, we kind of were talking, and, obviously they chose Adam Gase over Le'Veon Bell by releasing him. So
wrong move.
He's just a franchise destroyer. So we were wondering, when the Jets decide to sell teams and someone else picks them up, where would a great landing spot for a new franchise be?
Because that's what they need to do.
It's what we think they need to do. So we were kind of looking at a map of where current teams are located based on, the geography of the country. And there seems to be a great spot that I personally like.
Juneau, Alaska.
No.
Juneau Jets.
Love it, actually. No, I actually had the idea of, like, the East Carolina coastline.
Charlotte.
Yeah.
Charleston.
Charleston, yeah. There's a nice little gap over on that East Coast. They can kind of keep them in that AFC East division. And there's a pretty decent population over there. Or
you could put them in where they really belong, in BFE, Montana.
Yeah. Clear that huge gap that they got up there in the north.
Yeah, seriously. 10 people in one city? It's where they deserve to go. I like the Juneau Jets, though.
Yeah, you might want to start selling them on it.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to. First team in Alaska. New definition of the frozen tundra.
What about going to, London?
That'd be cool, but the logistics would be difficult because obviously they've always talked about it. And they have not talked about moving the Jets. This is just a fun question. But I think London would be pretty neat. I just think the logistics, moving 52 families, just player families, not including, the staff and stuff like that. Plus taxes, I'm assuming, gets pretty...
I'm sure there's economics behind it that neither of us understand.
Oh, by far, yeah. Way over our pay grade. But London would be neat. Mexico City would be dope.
Mexico itself?
Mexico, period. Somewhere down there. Maybe Cancun.
Keep it lively.
The Cancun Cannons. Cancun Toucans.
Can't think of anything good.
No?
Drawing a blank.
Oh, man, come on. The London Lizards. The London Liftoffs. The London Losers. Because they are the Jets. They suck. Oh, boy. If you got any place that you think the Jets should move, let us know. Like I said, they're not moving.
Let us hear where you think they should go and what team they should change their name to.
They're thinking about trading Quinnen Williams too. Did you hear? Like supposedly
they got calls about him, and the owner has said that they're open to hearing talks about any players and would move on anyone, but they're not looking to move on anyone. Obviously, other than Le'Veon Bell.
Quinnen, come to Florida. You can carry a gun in an airport, I think. Is that actually you can carry in the state? You can't take it in the airport, but you can carry. That's what he got in trouble.
As long as you get it checked, you can fly with a gun.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
You have to check it.
Wow.
And have it in a gun case.
Quinnen, come down. Miami Dolphins, we're here. We just lost a defensive tackle. So, anyways, hit us up on Twitter. Where you think, if the Jets were to ever move, or any football team for that matter, where you think would be a great landing spot? Yeah. Just use the hashtag or tag us at thefantasytap on Twitter.
Yeah, hit us up. So obviously, Le'Veon Bell did sign a 1-year deal with the Miami Dolphins. We are so excited to have him. It's an absolute joke. We've been on edge the entire day, and when news finally released, we both shed a tear.
Yes,
he signed with the Kansas City Chiefs for a 1-year deal. Possibly one of the best landing spots he could have asked for. They've already got a complimentary back there that runs a similar style that he does in Clyde Edwards. And Le'Veon's just a little bit bigger and more of a bell cow type of player. If he can be that 2018 Le'Veon, or 2017 Le'Veon, you might be looking at someone who's absolute best running back in the league on the best offense. It's going to really hurt for all those Clyde Edwards owners.
I don't know if, obviously it hurts both of them. I don't think he's going to jump into that, barring an injury to Clyde or, whatever. But I don't think he's going to jump back up into that wide or quarterback or, running back one conversation. I do think this takes away from Clyde Edwards. But, looking at it, Clyde Edwards, last week he only got 59% snap share. He still, put up totaled just under 100 yards at 80 yards a pop, or 80 yards, was involved in the passing game, couldn't really come down with it. And then the week before that, he had 74% snap share, 69, 63, 65. So he wasn't really getting that full workload anyway, except for 2 weeks ago, in the high 60s. So I think there's room for Bell to come in, and I think in the red zone is really where he's going to kind of make his money. I think they'll, between the 20s, I think is where Clyde is going to be playing, and then from the red zone in, I think that'll be Le'Veon's territory.
I don't know. I think Andy Reid's going to keep it creative and find ways to keep the offense rolling with both running backs doing different things down the field. I personally think that Le'Veon's going to get more of the snap share regardless of field position. I think he's a 4-down. He can be a 3-down back.
For sure.
So while Clyde Edwards has been doing absolutely amazing so far this year, I do think that Le'Veon's going to definitely take a pretty decent toll on him. But I don't think either of them reach that running back one consistently week in, week out for the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm. It'd be dope. Kind of like looking back at it and thinking about it. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I'm trying to get them, trying to find out because it literally just popped in my head. But with Sammy Watkins out, they got Nikhil Harry. What if you saw either of them lining up in the receiver position and have them both on the field at the same time?
It's possible, but it's not like they're limited at that receiver position. You saw DeMarcus Robinson getting a pretty good work early in the season. It's possible, though. Both of them are great pass catchers. They're both speedy. They're both able to get downfield, and
it's going to be interesting. What would you go out and trade for these guys?
It depends if the owners are trying to sell them cheap. I wouldn't be spending, again, we just said that we don't think either of them are going to be running back one, so you're not going to pay that price tag for them. But if people are selling them off cheap because they're afraid of what their value is doing, I might pick them up just in case. Who knows? Maybe they both. You can find games where Alexander Madison and Dalvin Cook are both playable. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt both playable.
Yeah.
So their values are really. We're gonna have to see what the team does with both of them. We're not gonna find out this week,
or potentially not even next week.
Potentially not next week
because he has to go through. I was reading one of the Kansas City beat writers posted on Twitter that Le'Veon has to go through 5 days of negative testing, pretty much for COVID, and then on the 6th day, I guess they do a spot test for COVID, and as long as that's negative, then he can start practicing that day. So potentially 5 to 6 days away from now, so about a week or so. So I don't see him to be heavily involved next week, the following week. After that, though, I do think he'll start. I think he'll get his feet wet and stuff like that because he's a solid player. But I think the week after that, we really start seeing, what's going to play out. So this week, potentially next week, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, use him. After that, got to wait and see.
Yeah, use him this week, definitely. Next week, see what they're saying in that offense. I mean, he does get that full week and plus in those 5 days to catch up on the offense, start learning their offense and understanding. He doesn't get that time to get physically there, but he still has time to acclimate slightly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's a vet, so he will do fine. But yeah, I think I'd trade for him. I'd trade for either of them as long as I can get him on the low, because if someone gets if an injury occurs or if something happens and one of them starts outperforming the other, I want to have a piece of it. And of course, we always say it's Kansas City Chiefs offense. It's nice to have a piece of them, and if you can get it at a discounted rate now, I would go out and see if you can. As for trading them away, I don't think I would, just because you're not going to get much unless somebody offers you. Maybe you're the Le'Veon Bell owner, and someone's trying to trade off the Clyde Edwards-Helaire, or wants to trade for the Le'Veon Bell. You might be able to the Clyde Edwards-Helaire owner. You know what I'm saying?
Grab something.
Yeah.
What about if you had someone like Mike Davis on your team, while you also had other running backs? Knowing that Christian McCaffrey is going to be coming back, would you offer Mike Davis for maybe Le'Veon or Clyde Edwards?
That's difficult. It depends on if I really need him this week.
If you're not relying on Mike Davis, but he's helpful.
If I'm not relying on him, then yeah, I'll trade him away, see if I can get Clyde Edwards or Lev Bell and kind of just see what happens. If I'm the Christian McCaffrey owner, though, and I have Mike Davis already, I'm not letting him go. I gotta keep him in case something else happens or if this injury extends. But definitely an interesting situation. We'll find out about. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into our weekend roundup. Yeehaw. Yeehaw.
A battle
John.
is brewing.
Yes, sir. Let's get it. The weekend roundup is here. Just to remind you guys, going into this weekend of games, the 4 teams on byes this week are the Saints, the Chargers, the Raiders, and the Seahawks. So if you got any of those guys, make sure they are on your bench. Obviously, we don't have a Thursday night game or didn't have a Thursday night game, so didn't have to worry about that. Make sure that those guys are off your roster and on your bench. Now, let's jump into the first game of the week. We're talking Chicago Bears at the Carolina Panthers. Over-under. Vegas has them an over-under of 44.5. Just to get to the news that affects this game real quick, the Panthers, Curtis Samuel is limited, and Teddy Bridgewater came out earlier this week saying they want to get him the ball. They want to get the ball to Curtis Samuel. He had a pretty solid week last week. Put up, flexible numbers, I believe. Am I remember correctly?
Yeah, he scored 8.9 in a half-point league. Was able to go 5 targets for 5 catches for 36 yards. Obviously, he was able to get some sort of rushing upside, too. They like to use him in the rushing game.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Mike Davis getting a little worn down, so they need to find some opportunity for him somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But do like the idea of it. Not someone I trust. Realistically, the only big player off the Carolina offense that I want parts of is, even though he had a big game last week, I'm not super into DJ Moore going up against the Bears. I do sadly and surprisingly trust Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, I know, right?
It is the weirdest thing to think about and feel. But he's proven himself to be that number one there. I light him up as a solid wide receiver 2 for my team. I'm not making him I'm not relying on him as my wide receiver 1 if I have to. But I like Robbie Anderson enough for that. After that, Mike Davis and Teddy Bridgewater. I'm going to play Teddy. He's been doing great this year so far. And even though the Bears defense has been, a shocking name for years now, and tied for the first worst against the quarterback, I still think that their offense is going to be able to move the ball downfield, and he's still going to be able to get points up. He does have that rushing upside too, where he is able to get down the field, and he's not afraid to run it. I'm not taking him as like a high-end quarterback like he was last week and the week prior, But if I have him, he's not someone I'm going to go search the waivers for.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
if I have him, I'm not going to search the waivers to sit him this week.
Unless Ryan Fitzpatrick's on the waivers.
I'd take Ryan Fitzpatrick over him.
Yeah, if Ryan Fitzpatrick's on the waivers, I think I'd even take Tannehill over him. I'm gonna pull up the current percentages on those guys to see what some of the guys that we were talking about earlier. But no, I agree. I don't think I'm nervous for this matchup, but I don't think that it's going to. He's not going to lose you the week again. Like you said, he does have a slight bit of upside in the rushing game. I'm not playing Nick Foles. Just to go back real quick, Ryan Fitzpatrick is still not owned in only 48.1% of leagues. So over on ESPN. So over 50% of ESPN leagues, he is available. I would definitely scoop him if you can and play him this week. But going back to this game, of course, I'm playing Mike Davis. I trust Robbie Anderson. Like you said, that sounds so weird. If you would have told me one of the Carolina Panthers was the number 9 wide receiver on the year and one was the wide receiver 24 on the year, and then what number 9 wide receiver was Robbie Anderson, I would say, what? Yeah, I'd slap you. I'd slap you.
No, I mean, DJ Moore has had his 2 good games now. Hopefully he's able to keep it up. If he can do something this week that isn't a touchdown and still find himself relevant, I'd be extremely happy and I'd start trusting him more. If not, he's someone I'm probably looking to get rid of, trade away at this point, just because I can't keep expecting something from him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're not as far as the Bears receivers though. You're not into Darnell Mooney this week.
No, I'm not. I mean, maybe he's a last ditch flex option. Maybe I have somebody on buy, a couple players on buy, but I'm not actively looking to play him. If I had to pick between him, Anthony Miller, Cordero Patterson, I'm playing Mooney. He has started to. I believe he's jumped in front of Anthony Miller, or at least starting to.
No, I think he's definitely the number 2 receiver there. I think he's the one that's going to be seeing a lot of targets this week. And as a weak flex, out of necessity, he's someone that I'm happy to play. Not looking for huge numbers, but just looking to have someone that's not going to burn out on me.
Yeah, the last, let's see, since almost the entire year, Darnell Mooney's been on the field more, I believe, except for week 1. So he's definitely jumped him. If I have to, I will, play Darnell Mooney as a flex option. But obviously, if I have better options, I'm going to play them. DJ Moore, I'm willing to put in my flex position just because I do think he has a tough matchup. But I do think he's very talented and he can break open the game like he did last week. Curtis Samuel, with his injury and things like that, I'm fading away from him. And really, the only tight end here in this game I feel comfortable with even looking at is Jimmy Graham.
Yeah, he's a streamable tight end, mainly on the fact that he has found himself in the end zone a few times this year and slightly reliable for Nick Foles and actually Mitch Trubisky when he was in there.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as Ian Thomas, he's not someone that you're going to want to trust, not going to want to take that touchdown upside on a tight end who doesn't get the ball too much. So stay away from him. But other than that, pretty much going to be an interesting game. I do think the Bears can win this. They're currently the underdog right now, according to Vegas. So that's a great thing to see.
Yeah.
Always love an underdog, especially when they're 4-1.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Now moving on to Cincinnati at Indianapolis. Current over-under for that game, another low-scoring game that Vegas thinks is 46.5 points. Obviously, Indy's defense is balling. They're shutting everybody down. They're a top 5, top 3 defense in the league right now. But touching on some injuries in that game, Mo Cox missed another practice, and then on the Cincy side, AJ Green was limited, and then John Ross, he was cleared of injury. Now he hasn't played the past couple weeks, obviously, but I believe 2 weeks ago he's a healthy scratch. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens there with that wide receiver core. As for the plays of this game, I'm not going to play either quarterback.
No, I don't think you do. Maybe Rivers. just as a sneaky flex stream and a super flex or something. If you really are weak at quarterback, just in the fact that the Bengals have been putting up, have been allowing decent numbers to the quarterback. But Joe Burrow, I think is a must sit. I think he don't play in this week. The Colts defense is absolutely nasty. I think Joe Mixon you sit this week as well as Tyler Boyd. Kenny Moore has been shutting down the receivers coming out of the slot, and I think Tyler Boyd's going to be getting demolished. I don't think T. Higgins is going to be getting much work at all either. If he is, it's going to be I think T. Higgins is the only receiver that you would take a shot on.
Yeah, I like T. He seemed to get a chemistry, led the team in targets last week. So I'll flex in T. Tyler does scare me with that matchup. I think you don't have to, but a lot of people, in the position with the injuries, you might be forced to play Tyler Boyd, and it's not a great matchup, but cross your fingers and hope he gets in the end zone. I don't like this Joe Mixon matchup. He's another player, you spent high draft capital on, but he's not doing much, and I think he's going to do very little, maybe flexible numbers again, maybe at that 10-point spot or so, unless he gets in the end zone. So if you have to, flex him, but if you have the ability to bench him, this is the game to do it. Jonathan Taylor, I think, is a pretty good play this week, especially if the Colts can get out to a lead and just kind of rely on him and run the ball. So I will play him. T.Y. Hilton, I'm not playing. I know he's got a pretty good matchup, but I just don't think the connection between him and Phillip Rivers is there.
I mean, he showed himself to be a little bit better last week. He got targeted 10 times, was able to bring the ball in 6 of those for 11.5 per catch. The matchup is pretty good. Even though that 10 targets happened last week, it's not something I want to rely on. I do think he's a flex. Above, I would play Ty over Tyler Boyd. I think he's a weak flex.
Oh yeah.
If you're in a situation where you have him and you need to play him, I think you can get away with it, but you're not. It's not a hot start.
Yeah. And then I'm not playing Zach Pascal. And no tight ends.
No tight ends out of there.
Moving on to the Detroit Lions playing at Jacksonville. Detroit coming off of a bye week this week. Pretty high over-under compared to the first 2 games we've seen. Actually, one of the highest on the week. Current over-under Vegas has them at is 54.5. Neither of these teams has defenses. So to be honest, if I was a betting man, which I am, I'm taking the over. This is when I'm going to smash it. I know it's kind of high, but I think this is going to be a high-scoring game.
I do, too. Smashing that over, though, I'm not too sure about. 55 is a little high. I don't think you're going to see a Raiders Chiefs game like you did last week going into the 60s.
35-28. Book it. I'm going to write that down right next to it, too.
Go for it. But as far as the game, I do think Matt Stafford's a great start this week, especially going against the Jaguars. C.J. Henderson's still going to be out playing for their starting corners. Adrian Peterson missed practice this week, or missed practice on Thursday, but it was due to an illness. He's still going to be their lead back this week. He should be back by Sunday. Shouldn't be too big of an issue. And as far as Jacksonville, Laviska Shenault was upgraded to limited on Thursday. As far as DJ Chark was not at practice, which kind of scares me a little bit. He hasn't been at practice all week, so hopefully he can get something going. You guys are going to want to pay attention to our Sunday live stream where we go over all of the inactives and your start sits and check who's actually going to be playing. This is a 1 o'clock game, so you're going to want to be on top of that.
Definitely.
If he plays, though, are you playing him?
AP?
No, DJ Chark.
Oh, DJ. Oh, sorry. I thought we were still on AP. DJ Chark, yeah, I'll play him. In this matchup, I will play him. If I also want to see what he does today, in practice to kind of see what happens there. But, I mean, yeah, in this matchup, you can't not. Laviska, I think, is a really solid play. And, Gardner, I like Gardner. You like Gardner this week? I think he's a high-end quarterback, too, this week. And then James Robinson, I mean, last week was probably his worst week of the year. Still
was able to get 60 yards on the ground.
Yeah, so play him. I'm staying away from all the Lions running backs unless I have to. And then my play, I love him. My guy, he is on his way to wide receiver 2. It starts this week. Kenny Galladay, baby. I still believe he can get there. I still believe it.
I thought it started.
Well, it did. He scored a couple touchdowns. He's put up some numbers.
He's making his way up. He's 73 in PPR and 68 in standard.
Boom. He's on his way.
Making strides.
How do you eat an elephant, John? One bite at a time.
Oh, great.
Yes, sir.
No, I'm definitely staying away from these running backs unless out of pure necessity. If I had to go to any of them, it would be AP, just based on the fact that he has been their lead back and primary running back so far, outside of week 1 where he wasn't even there.
Yeah.
Kenny Galladay, absolutely a must start this week. Going to be, within reason, probably one of the top 12 receivers. I think Marvin Jones actually finds himself relevant this week.
Yep.
A sneaky flex at that. Not someone you're going to want to rely on, but if you're looking for someone and he's on your bench, might be a good week to start him.
Yes, sir.
With Danny Amendola back, I don't think that's going to be I don't think that's going to be too big of an issue. I know he missed practice on Tuesday, but I don't think that even with him fully healthy, it's going to be any sort of an issue. And I do think that TJ Hawkinson is an absolutely beautiful play this week.
Yeah, Jags.
I know
one
you
of the
have
worst.
him as your must start.
Yep, him and Stafford. And if I would make Kenny Galladay, but everybody knows that, so I don't think people would listen if we made people like that.
But Laviska Shenault kind of does scare me. He has been limited. He did not practice on Wednesday, so it does matter to me what happens on Friday and how he is going into that. If he's limited again on Friday, might be a little curious on that.
He was banged up last week though too, going into the week. So I trust him. In this week, obviously, if he doesn't practice today, then yeah, I'm not going to play him. But I think Laviska's a solid play. He's getting his target share, and if DJ Chark's out or something happens to him, then definitely a smash play. And then the only real tight end I am playing, like you said, is TJ Hawkinson. Now, moving on to the COVID game of the week.
The Atlanta Falcons going over to the Minnesota Vikings. Vegas currently has them at an over-under of 54. Obviously, whenever the Falcons have been playing this year, it's kind of turned into a shootout. I mean, they even had a 35-point game against the Bears. Didn't turn into a shootout until the fourth quarter, though. But coming out of Atlanta, as he just mentioned, they are the COVID factory right currently. They did have their facility shut down on Wednesday due to multiple positive COVID tests. Sad to see, but Russell Gage and Hayden Hurst both limited on Thursday. Julio Jones still not at practice. So if you have him, Calvin Ridley's looking pretty hot again this week. Out of Minnesota, Dalvin Cook was not at practice on Thursday, and it's still little news coming out about his groin as far as the severity and how long this injury is going to sideline him. He still isn't on IR. So now that I said that, expect him to show up on IR today.
No, I don't
just
think
like Austin Eckler.
Yeah, that's true though. You did say that about Austin Eckler. So I see a 5% chance Dalvin Cook plays this week, and then going into their bye, it's going to be interesting. So hopefully you got that Alexander Madison waiver pickup this week to help you win, because he's going to ball. So I'm definitely starting him. Actually, both quarterbacks in this aren't bad.
I was going to say both quarterbacks right here. Matt Ryan can find himself at a low-end one. Kirk Cousins could even find himself as a low-end one.
Yeah, with the weapons he has.
In that Falcons defense.
And the Falcons defense.
I think Todd Gurley's actually a good play too. He has been able to get himself some pass-catching relevance as well as being able to run the ball semi-efficiently the past couple weeks. But Alexander Madison's the running back you're going to want out of this game. Absolutely. With Dalvin Cook even in, he's been able to find himself some sort of like sneaky relevance, being able to get some yards and some catches out of the backfield. But as far as the receivers, I think your top choice is Calvin Ridley, and your second choice is
Adam Thielen.
Yeah, without a doubt. I kind of really like Justin Jefferson this week.
Me too.
And it's not just the fact that it's obviously the Falcons defense he's going to be going against. But I do think that, after having his down week, they're going to try to get him a little more involved. And with Dalvin Cook being out too, they need to find another weapon they can use. But as far as that, are you taking any of the other Falcon receivers?
No, not this week, unless I'm like very, very necessary. Like,
if Julio Jones practices fully Friday, like he comes back tomorrow.
I don't think he's playing this week.
I don't think so either.
I do. I mean, can you sit? What'd you say about Todd Gurley? You would sit him?
I would play him.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'd agree there. Just because, I mean, at this point, you can't not play him. He's getting in the end zone, which is nice. Which is saving his days, and it's going to come to an end. But get it while it's hot.
With Hayden Hurst not being what Austin Hooper was for them last year, I think that Todd Gurley is going to be getting some of that pass catching upside that the tight end would be receiving. I think they're finding that average depth of targets for the running back and tight end can be somewhere in that similar range. So I think that's kind of what's going on there with the relevance you're getting from him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I'm still not really happy with Hayden Hurst.
I'm not playing him.
I wouldn't play him.
I'm not playing him. Not playing him. Actually, I think it's time to cut him.
Really?
Yep, I cut him in the league. Cut it off. Cut it right there. Boom. Done. Me and him are no more. But it is what it is. So, yeah, Calvin Ridley, Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson. Those are the receivers I am quite high on. Both running backs, Madison, Gurley, and then both quarterbacks.
And then if you guys really need a tight end stream and your waivers are super dry, I really do like Irv Smith this week. I'm not expecting tight end 1 numbers from him. Could happen. But what I'm really expecting and what I'm telling you guys is I think he does find himself in a top 12 situation where he's good for your week. He's not going to win you guys your week, but he's definitely going to put points on the board.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And make sure that you're good.
Definitely. Now moving on to Denver at New England. Over-under for that game is 45. Cam Newton coming back. Stephon Gilmore also coming back. I think it's going to be a rough time for those that Denver passing game. Drew Lock potentially coming back, baby.
No, he's back.
He's back.
Been full of practice. He's been full of practice for the past 2 days.
You're right.
Someone else who showed up at practice today was Melvin Gordon. After sleeping off that hangover, he found himself in the field. But surprisingly, the decision for Sunday's game has not been made public if it's even been decided. So I'm thinking it hasn't.
I believe they're talking to the NFL about what they have to do and whatnot. Because like we said yesterday, he did call John Elway and whatnot to apologize and stuff right after, and I think he knows he messed up, which that's a pretty big mess up. But I think it can be resolved. As long as both parties are willing. Yeah, within the guidelines and stuff like that. But
a few $1,000s worth of bills and a couple attorney fees.
Yeah, exactly. But Cam Newton, love it. Play it, book it, done. With the way he's been playing prior to COVID, you can't not. Drew Lock, not going to play him this week, especially with Stephon Gilmore back. James White and Damian Harris, what are you doing there? And Rex Burkhead, really.
The fact that we weren't able to watch what they did with Damian Harris last week, I'm going to stick where I was. I'm not playing Damian Harris unless I'm in necessity. He was only able to be relevant, and it was purely on the ground. Most of my leagues are PPR leagues. 100 yards is great, but I don't think he's going to be getting that. I think they're going to be doing something completely different. It is that Patriots backfield where they just like to change it up to whatever they can. So it could be Damian Harris. It could be James White. The only person I would play is James White, just out of that pass catching upside. So he's going to be getting the ball a couple times on the ground, possibly, and in the air. Between Rex Burkhead, no, not starting him at all. I am kind of hot on Phillip Lindsay this week.
Oh yeah.
Even though it is the Patriots defense, I do think that with Drew Lock just coming back fresh, I think Phillip's gonna want to get out there and be strong. I don't know how healthy he is. I didn't see any reports on that, so that might be something that I want to look into just before, because it's currently saying that he could start. Yeah. So, Phillip, I'm playing as a flex option. You drafted him to where he is. You're not relying on him at this point unless you have a ton of injuries on your team, which is a possibility. But I would definitely play Phillip this week. And actually, I will play Damian Harris, in my opinion. I do think he's going to get the touches, and enough opportunity to, as well as some goal line carries. He might get in that end zone. And then James White, I'm playing as well. As a solid flex option, he will get involved in that passing game. Now, moving on to the receivers. Julian Edelman, are you playing him? He was limited. on Thursday,
He's
but
always
he's always limited, and because of the long duration between the games and the random bye week, they might have just given him the day off. I might play him. I'm never in I don't like him personally, so I'm never in a situation where I roster him. But if you guys got him,
I don't. Yeah,
I think this.
I'm with you.
I think this might be a good week just on a minimal, like a low risk or a high risk flex play, fringe flex. If I got him and I need to roster someone who could have a great game that's got the possibility, he's someone who gets that PPR upside. Cam likes to run the ball a lot more than Tom Brady does, apparently, which surprised everyone. So there's really not as many passing attempts game in, game out, as well as the Patriots liking to run the ball some games. They're just not finding Julian Edelman's going to be getting those same targets this year.
Mm-hmm. I'd be willing to play him as a flex option, wide receiver 2 option, if necessary. Nikhil Harry, he did come down with a touchdown last week, but prior to that, I mean, he hasn't really done much except for week 2. He did put up 72 yards and 8 receptions. So
against Seattle,
yeah,
against that big shootout.
Yeah, exactly, against Seattle. So not saying much, but I'm staying away from Nikhil if I can. Jerry Jeudy, I think he's going to be that team's number 1. I think he's got a really tough matchup. So if I can find somebody else, I'm going to. Would you play Jerry Jeudy or Julian Edelman this week?
I honestly would have to take Julian Edelman just in the fact that he's going to be that team's number 1. He gets the targets. Judy's going to be having a hard matchup, and he's coming off a big game. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be rough for him. I don't think he's going to repeat. Yeah,
I agree. I'd lean Julian Edelman that way. I think Jeudy could give you a low-end flex option, potentially high-end if he can, get a nice long touchdown or something like that. But tight end, Noah Fant, he's back at practice limited. So if he plays, I'm playing him. Drew Lock, that entire offense, I think he's really that team's number 1 he's on the field.
Yeah, he's an absolute baller. I absolutely love Drew Lock this week. If he plays, you play him, and you just get what you get.
Yep.
You're not mad at him just because he's that big of a guy. Ryan Izzo, any of the other tight ends for the New England Patriots, you're not going to be playing.
Yep.
Next game on the docket, we've got the sleep fest of the week, or possibly the biggest upset of the week.
Biggest upset? Who's winning? We don't know. I mean.
Oh, come on. Currently, I think the Giants are favored to win.
Giants are favored.
Yep. Giants are favored to win. I think the Washington football team lets the Giants get that first round or help them for that first overall pick next year. But I'm not playing Kyle Allen and I'm not playing Daniel Jones this week. Even though the Giants have been letting every quarterback beat up on them, I'm not taking that upside, and I don't trust Daniel Jones to do anything. Antonio Gibson, limited yesterday, full participant today, or on Thursday. So I'm playing him in this game. I do think that he's going to be rather good this week. And I might even give Devonta Freeman a nice little flex start if I have to.
Yep, I agree with you there, 100%. Terry McLaurin, Darius Slayton, I am playing them. And, against this defense, I'm going to flex in Golden Tate. I think he could be a solid flex this week, get some targets. And then moving on, Evan Ingram, I'm playing him. He hasn't done much, but he has gotten a ton of targets, except for last week. But he did have a touchdown taken back, which I'm kind of upset about. But
no, I'm sorry. I lied to you last episode. He did have the touchdown. Just the stats I was looking at didn't show it. It was a rushing touchdown.
Yes. The inevitable rushing touchdown.
Yes. But you do have J.D. McKissick as one of your streams of the week.
Yes, and J.D. McKissick. Yeah, because you can flex. See, he's listed here as a wide receiver. And if you need a running back option, he is running back in other platforms. So J.D. McKissick as well if you need a running back, because he does line up as a wide receiver also. I almost skipped over him. Thank you, John, for catching that.
Absolutely, man. I got you.
Thank you.
Next up, we got the Baltimore Ravens going to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Ooh, wonderful.
This
Yay.
might be less entertaining to watch than the last game, in my opinion.
Have you ever been spanked, John?
Yeah, multiple times.
Well, get ready.
I'm not an Eagles fan.
I know, but I'm just saying it's kind of what it's going to be like.
Yeah. So
Carson Wentz, I'm not playing. Nope, don't ask me. Miles Sanders, I'll play. I'm going to grit my teeth because he just put up he had that long touchdown. He got 2 touchdowns against the
Steelers defense, who's a great defense.
Great defense,
they're great against the run, and it just takes that. It's all it takes in fantasy is one big play. So obviously, flex are higher. I'm playing, or maybe a running back too, but expecting like a high end running back 2, low end running back 1 from him on a really good day.
So I'll make it quick for the Eagles. The only person I'm starting or wanting to, semi-start is Miles Sanders. Everybody else is down the drain. I know Travis Fulgham had a great week. Zach Ertz, he was a snooze last week. I'm not taking the chance on any of these guys. I think there's better streaming options out there.
To be honest, I'm going to say something similar about the Ravens. The only person I'm really comfortable playing is Marquise Brown and Mark Andrews. And Mark Andrews, I'm just playing based off draft capital. He's had a few bad games, but
what about
they're
Lamar?
not terrible.
Lamar?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we already said Lamar's a obvious must start against the Eagles. He's going to have 60 rushing yards again.
Yep. So, Marquise and Mark Andrews, I am right there with you. Nobody else. Don't do it. Don't play the running backs unless you have to. Don't do it. You're just going to cause yourself heartache. Moving on to Cleveland at Pittsburgh. I think this could be an upset.
Who do you have favored? Or who's favored?
The Steelers.
Well, yeah. It depends if Baker plays or not.
True.
He's currently trending in the right way, but there's also talks that he could be taking a snap or a share in the quarterback position this week.
Not playing him, though.
Yeah, so I'm going to be staying away from him. I am into playing Big Ben.
Yep.
Cleveland's been allowing people to beat them up. I'm definitely playing Kareem Hunt. He's a must-start week in, week out. And
Also
then
James Conner.
I'm also going to play James Conner.
Boom. So I like when we agree.
Jarvis Landry wasn't at practice again with that hip and rib injury.
Yeah, that's
so that's someone you want to pay attention to.
I'm not playing him.
And then, obviously, if he doesn't play, I'm not going to play him either.
Even if he plays, I'm not playing him. I think he's going to be slowed down.
OBJ didn't go to practice on Thursday, or was actually asked to leave practice on Thursday. He was came to practice sick. So we
keep an eye on that.
Took an illness day. Pay attention to that.
We'll update you on Sunday.
If they don't play, I might actually be interested in playing Austin Hooper.
Yeah. If neither of those guys play.
Yeah. As far as the Steelers receivers, Juju Smith-Schuster, Deontay Johnson, and tight end Eric Ebron all reported to practice fully today or on Thursday. They did come in. They didn't practice on Wednesday, so just wanted to update you guys on that. But I'm totally into playing Juju as a flex or a wide receiver 2 this week.
That's not the question, though, John. What are you doing with Claypool?
That was coming up next.
I know, but everybody's gonna flex him.
I'm gonna flex Claypool.
I'll flex Claypool.
Once a receiver breaks out for 4 touchdowns, it's not like the quarterback can not go to them again next week. He did have 0 targets, 0 touches the week prior, but I think he got injured early in the game. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But I like him. I'll take the upside on him.
Yeah, and the Browns have been, bottom 3 against the wide receivers. So same with Deontay Johnson. If he plays, it's going to be a little scary because, he did leave the game early last week.
Again.
And actually, you know what? No, I'm sorry. Don't take the chance.
I was going to say, I'm not playing Deontay just based on the fact that he's left the game multiple times. He hasn't had multiple healthy games in a row.
Yeah.
So don't want to take that chance at all on him.
Avoid the risk.
Eric Ebron, if Deontay doesn't play, I'm going to play.
Play him.
Obviously, a lot of his upside last week was cut away by those big plays by Chase Claypool. And that's what happens when you have a player on one team that's putting up 4 touchdowns and over 100 yards. Like that, everyone else suffers because the ball's moving downfield. That's so less opportunity.
Yep.
So as I think Ebron finds himself more targets than last week and finds more relevance too.
Beautiful. I agree. I agree with you there. Houston going to Tennessee.
Fire up Ryan Tannehill. He's a beast.
Uh-huh.
Everyone that leaves the Gase vortex is just a beast. Ryan Tannehill, absolute monster. He did step over the line. So if we can roll back fantasy points, so Ryan Tannehill or Gianni Smith can lose those 6 points, that'd be great.
We lost because of that, which stinks, but I love to see Ryan Tannehill flourishing. It's great. So I'm playing him. I'm playing Deshaun Watson. Derrick Henry, I'm playing. What are you doing with David Johnson?
Why do you have to ask? It's a question I don't want to answer because I'm in a situation where I have to play him in one league.
A lot of people have to.
And I'm not super hot about it, but I'm kind of hopeful. I wouldn't take the risk on him. I wouldn't be starting him over anyone else that's that caliber of running back.
At this point, I think he's a solid flex.
But yeah, I was just gonna say I think I can flex him. I would take a chance on him. It only takes one big run. It only takes a little bit, and he has been mildly consistent. He is the running back 24, so I think you're going to be finding at the floor running back 24 numbers.
Yep.
I think we'll get a running back 2 out of him, so he could be a sneaky flex for you.
Yep. A.J. Brown, Will Fuller, I'm playing them both.
If A.J. Brown plays.
Is he banged up again?
No, I'm just kidding. He was actually just out of practice today. He was out of practice, but this was their first practice back since the Tuesday night game. So
True.
Probably just a recovery night for him.
Yeah.
Johnny Smith took a limited practice, and it's believed to be the similar issue.
He got freaking peppered. 9 targets.
Oh yeah.
First game back.
Oh, he looked good too.
He looked great. He screwed us. He was one of the other guys. But I'm playing both him and Will Fuller. Brandon Cooks, what are you doing with him? He's coming off a monster week, 12 targets, 8 touchdowns, 8 receptions.
8 touchdowns, man.
Yeah. That's NFL record.
Broke all of them.
Yeah, every record. Broke all. He even broke passing records. But over 160 yards. Dang, son. I'll flex. I'd be willing to flex Brandon Cooks, not expecting much, to be honest, because he does do this. He has those massive games, and then he disappears. But Texans really need a wide receiver, too, to emerge. So let's see if he can keep it going.
He's been so my thing with Brandon Cooks is he's been kind of banged up. I'm flexing him. I think he's going to find his value just a little bit below Will Fuller this week. And I think that after last week, he's going to definitely stand out over Cobb and Stills for the rest of the season. I do know that Akins, as far as the tight ends, has been out with that concussion protocol. He was limited today. So Darren Fells and him, I'm going to be sitting both of them. And Johnny Smith, I'm a comfortable play with him.
Gotta play him. I mean, he's currently the tight end too. So
You want to know what's even worse about that?
Let's hear it.
That's with a forced bye in week 4.
Yeah, that's rough, man. Jeez. That's great, though. I mean, if you have Jonnu Smith, you are set for this season.
I know. He was on waivers for the longest time in most leagues.
And we told him to pick him up.
It was told to you guys.
Uh-huh.
He's still only on 90%, so take a look for him.
10% of you people need to hear us. Moving on to New York Jets, the Miami Dolphins. Over-under for this game is 47 points. Las Vegas is expecting Miami to score all 47. So the only Jet I'm playing is Jamison Crowder. I'll keep it short and simple.
There's really no one else.
Yeah.
I make it short and sweet.
Yep, boom, done. Ryan Fitzpatrick, start of the week, stream of the week, because he's only on 48% of teams in ESPN leagues. Myles Gaskin.
I'm starting all the Dolphin starters. I'm starting Devont. I'm starting Gaskin, Parker,
Preston,
Gesicki, and I'd flex Preston this week.
You know who I'd flex?
Isaiah
Not
Ford.
Sexy. I would. I thought about it. I'm not going to.
Okay, me
just
either,
because of its
Preston.
inconsistency. However, I do think I'm going to flex Matt Breida. It's a risky call, but he does have that big play upside, and I do think that he can come through this week with a big play. He's been getting on the field, enough. He doesn't need a lot. He just needs one big play, and he has yet to get in the end zone. My stomach is telling me, hey, it's Breida's time for a touchdown. So I am taking the risk on him as well. I am actually flexing him in a couple leagues. So
when you remember who said that, guys?
Yes, remember who said that? It was me. I'll put my name on it. The Green Bay game, Green Bay going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay. Are you playing both quarterbacks?
Yeah, just because the past few weeks, Green Bay's turned into shootouts. So I think that Brady, who's coming off a huge game himself, actually a decent game, he had a bigger game back in week 4 against the Chargers.
Jair Alexander's back for that secondary, though. Green Bay.
It's not like he hasn't been playing against good defenses most of this season.
That's true.
He just played against the Bears and was still semi-relevant. He's currently quarterback 12. So, yeah, I'm definitely starting Brady just because he has that floor. his floor is pretty high, and he does have some sort of upside. They're not people I'm searching for. They're not trying to shoot for. Not people. I'm not starting him over any of the top 5 quarterbacks. But Aaron Rodgers, who is one of those top 5 quarterbacks, is obviously a must-start week in, week out.
Even against this defense.
Yeah, Devontae Adams is going to be back fully this week, so you're going to be getting a lot from him. So he's a start for me. I think Aaron Jones is a start. I'm playing Ronald Jones this week, not expecting a lot from him, but he's a running back too to a flex for me.
Yep.
And then Mike Evans was limited at practice.
Bunch of
back.
people were.
Chris Godwin, Scotty Miller.
Leonard Fournette,
Tyler
Sean
Johnson.
McCoy. Yeah, everybody.
Rob Gronkowski.
Boom. All of them.
So depending on who's playing.
Let's see what they do today. Let's see how they do in practice today. If Chris Godwin plays and Gronk plays, I'm only flexing Mike Evans on the upside of a touchdown because he's gonna get his touchdown. But that is it. I am gonna start Chris Godwin if he plays. Mike Evans, I'm not gonna expect much if the whole gang plays. To be honest,
Except that touchdown.
yeah, except that 2-yard
1
touchdown.
yard to 2 yard touchdown.
Dang it, man.
Yeah, but going on to the California game of the week, we got the Rams traveling all the way upstate to the San Francisco 49ers.
We didn't talk about Robert Tonyan or anybody like that. Are you playing Robert Tonyan?
Absolutely playing Robert Tonyan. He's
Playing Devontae Adams?
Yeah, I said Devontae Adams. Are you not playing MVS?
Nope.
And I am playing Robert Tonyan. Hopefully as a tight end in some of your leagues because he has been listed as that. If you can slot him in as a tight end.
Beautiful.
You probably are going to win that week. He's an absolute baller.
Yep.
And that's pretty much it out of the Packers for me. And then, like you said, if Gronk plays, I might play him, honestly. But if Gronk doesn't play and a majority of these receivers don't play, I might even play Cameron Brate this week as a low-end waiver pickup just because he is available and he was able to be a little relevant last week.
With all limited, it's so difficult to kind of, point out who's playing. But keep an eye out on who's going to be actually playing and who's not. So, and we'll update you on Sunday. Los Angeles Rams going to San Francisco 49ers. Jimmy G, man, he needs to bounce back. He's been fully participating in practice.
Throwing ducks in the air last week, though.
Seriously, to Xavier, Bobby McCain, everybody. But Jared Goff, are you playing him? You're streaming him because he's your stream of the week.
Yeah, I'm definitely playing Jared Goff. Sorry. Woo. I'm definitely playing Jared Goff this week just because we were able to watch Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's not even a rushing quarterback, unless he needs to be so relevant and be absolute monster. I think Jared Goff's going to be someone who's going to be able to smack the San Francisco 49ers again and again and again.
And again.
I will not be playing Darrell Henderson, though. Or any of the running backs going out of the Rams.
It's scary. And I know Darrell Henderson put up a solid week last week, but he got 2 touchdowns, 1 receiving and 1 rushing. Now, he only got 43% of the snap share. I do think the backfield is going to start to slowly move over into Cam Akers' backfield. I actually picked him up in a couple leagues for the long haul. That is a risky play. If you have to flex one of them, I would flex Darrell Henderson just on the recency of what's happened, but I'm trying to stay away from that backfield. I
wouldn't flex Darrell Henderson if I had to put him in as my running back 2. I would do that because I have no other option.
Okay,
but
yeah.
I would find a tight end. I think he's going to be tragic this week.
He could be.
And I would book that. Definitely playing Raheem Mostert.
Oh, of course.
Just on the upside. I'm not taking the shot on Jerick McKinnon. We saw that. It's not an every week thing that he can be relevant. I know that he had a couple games when Raheem was healthy. Just not something I want to take the upside on, but you do want their number 1 running back.
Now, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, you're playing them.
Must starts.
The Deebo Samuel coming back.
I'm not playing Deebo, and I'm not playing Brandon Ayuk.
Really? I think I would put Deebo in my wide receiver 2 or flex spot. Brandon Ayuk, I'm not going to. I do think we're going to see Deebo. Deebo's going to break out. I really do think so. It's going to be a tough matchup for him going up against Jalen Ramsey, but I think
the rest of their
involved.
secondary have been shutting teams down. And Jalen Ramsey himself has turned more into a slot corner more than a shadow corner like he was when he was playing for the
Jags.
For the Jags. and Brandon Ayuk's been their slot receiver while Debo's been there.
I'm not playing Ayuk. Yeah.
So I'm definitely not playing Ayuk. And the rest of that secondary there is not as good as Ramsey,
but good.
But still
very
great.
Good.
I don't think Debo's going to be great this week, but I definitely would flex him out of necessity.
Yeah, and then of course you're playing George Kittle.
Even after a bad week, you're playing him. I'm not taking the shot on Tyler Higbee anymore.
Nope.
He's done for me. I'm not dropping him yet. It's not time for that in my book, but
it's getting close.
I'm reevaluating what I'm expecting from him.
TikTok. Kansas City going to Buffalo. Buffalo just got their butt whooped, baby, by the Tennessee Titans. You're playing both quarterbacks.
This is going to be the shootout of the week.
You're playing Clyde Edwards-Helaire. What are you doing with Devin Singletary? In my opinion, I'm not playing him.
No, I'm not playing him at all. I don't trust him. Zach Moss came back, practiced fully, which is great to see, which is another reason I'm not going to be playing. Singletary lost all of his rushing upside, or his red zone upside, in my opinion.
TJ Yeldon balled out last week.
I was going to say, and TJ Yeldon had more relevancy, and that was just mainly on that 22-yard touchdown pass that he got. But still got 52 yards rushing. I would more than likely, if I had Singletary and I was in the position I had to play him, I might realistically pick up TJ Yeldon, play him, and hope for some sort of pass. I don't think that Devin Singletary is going to be able to do anything this week. Even though he has a couple good games, I think he's going to be doing pretty much what he did last week against the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
And he wasn't able to do poop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much.
Definitely starting CEH, though.
Oh, yeah, of course. Clyde Edwards, you're playing. Stephon Diggs, you're playing. Tyreek Hill, you're playing. Now, John Brown and Mecole Hardman, what are you doing there?
Definitely starting Mecole Hardman. I think that Mecole's going to be absolutely great this week, especially with Sammy Watkins out. Hasn't been able to have many big games, has been able to find himself relevant a couple weeks, but not exceptional. But that's with Sammy there. I've been a huge fan of him coming into this season, so I think it's time for him to take that shot, and I thought it was going to come when Sammy went down. The time has come.
The bell
has tolled.
Bell has rung?
Bell has rung.
Yeah, the bell has rung.
Yeah, the bell's rung. John Brown, I'm not taking the shot on, honestly.
Not with
even
his
though
injury.
even though he has that big play upside, and he is practicing fully, I just don't want to see him get hurt halfway through the game and him not play for me. I'd rather take that upside on Cole Beasley out of the slot.
I like Cole Beasley a lot. Especially if you're in any form of PPR format. And you know what? You know who I like as well?
Is it Gabriel Davis?
It is Gabriel Davis. He had a touchdown called back from him in this past game. He did drop drop a ball. One was behind him and one was pretty much hit him in the hands. But I think if this guy's on your waiver wire, I think he's a great stash.
As I'm looking for him.
For later on. I
leagues.
picked him up in as many dynasty leagues as I could. I went to UCF. That's kind of biased, but when he's been getting targets, I mean, he's been getting a solid amount of targets, especially this past game. He got 9. And like I said, he put up 58 yards on 5 catches, but he had one long 20-yard touchdown or so called back. So not gonna play him this week, but I do. He's an intriguing
He's a good stash.
Pick him up, stash
especially
him.
in the event that people go hurt.
Cole Beasley always gets hurt. John Brown, also very injury prone. So pick him up, stash him. Mecole Hardman, I will flex. Difficult matchup for him, or, the Bills are pretty solid defense, but I will flex to wide receiver 2 this week for Mecole Hardman. Travis Kelce, you're playing, and none of the tight ends on the Buffalo Bills side am I playing.
I'm personally super excited to watch the Dallas Cowboys play the Arizona Cardinals this week.
Win me some money, baby. I put a bunch of money on this.
I think Andy Dalton's gonna ball.
Gonna kill it.
I think
quarterback 1 this week.
Guaranteed. Lock it in. Pick it up. Pick him up. Put him in.
Talked about it.
I think the skill gap between, the quarterbacks.
All right, now you're losing me. I mean, Dak's a lot better than Andy. But
no, I'm not saying they're right there. But I don't think it's exponential. I think Andy Dalton was a good quarterback in Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't bad. He just didn't have a line. You see Joe Burrow running around out there.
Yeah.
Luckily Joe's been able to sling the ball around, but I think that Andy Dalton, with the receivers he has, the line he has, and the running back he has, I think he's going to ball out playing against Arizona.
Me too.
They've been allowing people to poop all over him. Kyler Murray, though, I'm still pretty excited to play him too. I think Andy Dalton's going to finish above him.
Me too.
Personally, just based on the fact that I think they're going to be the ball downfield, but Kyler Murray's upside's just a must start.
And Kyler doesn't have Zeke in the backfield either that he can dump the ball off to or hand it off to. So, I'm starting both quarterbacks. I think both are going to finish as a quarterback one. I think this is going to be a shootout. So does Vegas, 55 points over under. So Zeke and Andy and Kyler, we're all going to put them on and start them. Amari Cooper, I'm going to start. He's at, team's wide receiver one. Definitely starting him this week. Now, what are you doing with the other two receivers there, CD and Gallup?
I'm playing CD. I think CD Lamb's found himself to be at least a must flex start. You're not. I mean, if you're looking at your roster, you have him, and you're like, am I taking CD or am I putting DJ Moore in? I mean, I'm definitely playing CD Lamb.
Yeah, CD Lamb for sure.
So I think CD Lamb's an absolute baller, and as the season progresses, it's just going to be better and better. Him and Cooper, great. Gallup, I'm not touching.
I'm playing him.
You're playing him.
Yeah, he got three targets after Dak went down. Got 3 targets, including a massive game-winning or onto a game-winning field goal. That huge catch. So I do think that Gallup's going to, because I think Gallup's going to put at least flexible numbers up. He's just outside the wide receiver 2 at this point. He's currently wide receiver 27. He did have that massive game against Seattle, but I do think he's in for another solid game this week. And with Andy Dalton, it might actually help him a little bit. So I am definitely starting the first 2, and I will flex in Michael Gallup. I would love to have him as a flex.
I personally would rather take Christian Kirk as a flex this week.
Oh, no.
Absolutely. Dallas has been allowing a lot of points to the receivers in
100%.
general, ranking in the top 5 on any sort of platform or any sort of league type. So with DeAndre Hopkins, obviously going to be keyed up as the number 1 receiver. DeAndre Hopkins a must start. I think Christian Kirk is emerging as a nice little number 2 for D-Hop. I know a couple weeks ago Andy Isabella was able to get those deep touchdown passes, but I don't think that's what's going on with this offense. I do think they really do enjoy Christian Kirk. He was able to get 7 targets last week and was able to go for 78 yards.
So was Larry.
That's great.
Got that. No, I mean, I will flex in Kirk as well. DeAndre, of course, is a must start. So I mean, personally, I just like the Dallas offense a little bit more. But Kirk's a solid flex option. I'd play him over a lot of the guys that we were on the bubble about earlier. So
I'd play Kirk over Gallup.
I would not, but I would play him over a lot of the guys we talked about earlier. So, but what are you doing with Kenyon Drake and Chase Edmonds, I guess, is the biggest question. Because,
No, you're right. It's a question I didn't want to talk about, though.
But we got to.
I know. It's one of the questions we have to talk about because that's what we're here for.
Yes.
I personally am definitely not playing Kenyon Drake.
Yeah.
I'm on the fence about Chase Edmonds. I think he's in that kind of situation where if you have to play him, you can play him.
I have to play him.
If I had Chase Edmonds and Kenyon Drake, I would play Chase over Kenyon. I actually think that he's more talented back.
Yes, he has been. He's been getting real involved in the passing game compared to Kenyon. So I do think that is his big boost. So if you're in, Kenyon got 18 rushing attempts last week, exponentially more than Chase. But I do think if you're in any form of PPR league, half or full, Chase is your back just because of his work in the passing game. But Kenyon, I am trying to not play this week as much as possible.
I'm not looking to start him.
So.
But with those running back situations that some people are in, it gets rough. So you might find yourself in a situation and you might have to play him. I'm not searching the waivers to not play him, though.
Yeah. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is our weekend roundup. We are so glad you guys tuned in. But now let's get into our beer of the day. It was a good one. Like we said earlier, we were drinking on the Marauders Mutiny by Mash Monkey in Sebastian, Florida. It's a good beer. I enjoyed it.
Sure you did.
Oh, I did. I like that rum taste. The can art's really dope. It's got the pirate skulls with two swords in the back of it. I believe it's two swords. Yeah, it's two swords. And like the ocean behind that, kind of a darkish can. It lets you know it's a little bit of a darker beer. Not like a stout or anything like that, but it's darker there. Mash Monkey. They were founded by two friends, Derek and Patrick. They met through a beer club here locally where we live in Sebastian, Florida. And after that, they met each other, decided to brew a beer together in 2016, approximately. And then in 2018, they decided to open up Mash Monkey Brewing Company. I believe it was like the 9th or so local brewery we have, and it's a good one. It's got a really awesome kind of setting. It's right off of US 1, which is nice, right across the street from the river. So it's walking distance to the river, but it's got a pool table, a couple dart boards, and I think the coolest thing about it is when you sit at the bar, you can you see the brewing area. So you see the big I don't even know what they're called, tanks, whatever you want to call them. We're not brewmasters here, but you see all that stuff. You see the equipment they use. So it's a really cool vibe, and I really enjoy this beer.
I'll be honest, we had that oatmeal stout on last episode.
I know.
And when you sent me a picture and I looked into this beer a little bit and saw the ABV, I was a little scared because I was like, man, another one I'm not really going to enjoy. And I'll be honest, it's not my type of beer, but it's not bad to me. It's definitely a type of beer that I wouldn't order for myself, but I still actually am enjoying it. I do really enjoy that rum flavor, which was something I wasn't thinking I was going to really enjoy along with my beer. But it comes out really nicely and really smoothly. It doesn't really bite hard at any point, but it does carry a sweet bitterness along with it, which is kind of odd to say. And I'm still trying to process that personally. But I actually do kind of enjoy this. Personally, it makes me really interested in what they do with their other types of beers. Obviously, they make more than just this style. So I'm sure that there are other beers I'd probably be really interested in. I don't think I've been to Mash Monkey. I might have went there once with you.
Yeah, we've been. Yeah.
So I'm probably going to find myself there pretty soon now, just to try something else out. We'll probably bring some more of their stuff on as we check more of it out.
I bought a Kolsch as well, so we'll do that.
Oh, perfect.
Down the road.
Something I'm more into. So I did kind of enjoy it. It does kind of have a like an opaque amber. We kind of said it pours almost like a rich honey color, especially in the light. Lets a little bit of light through, but gives you that nice little opaque amber.
Great verbiage over there.
Oh, I love it. But the as far as the aroma, when you take a sniff of it, you do get a nice little comfort of that rum spiciness.
Yeah.
And it comes along with some cinnamon. Doesn't really hit you too hard. It smells pretty bitter, but it doesn't round out too much when you take the sip. That cinnamon and that rum do come in pretty strongly, never giving you that bite on the tongue that I personally was really expecting to come through pretty strongly. Rounds out pretty well, fills the mouth, gives you a nice little malty feeling in your tongue that I personally enjoy when I'm drinking. Kind of keeps the mouth watering, makes you want to keep drinking, and possibly order some food. So if you guys aren't serving food, start getting some food in there.
There's a pizza place right next door.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So what are you gonna rate it, John? I guess is the people's question.
Oh, it's everyone's question. Personally, I think I'm gonna be rating this like a 5.5.
5.5. Okay.
So not a high one, but not a low one for me.
This surprisingly is my favorite beer that we've had on the show. I'm going to give it a 9.1.
Wow.
Yes, quite high. I really enjoy I'm a big liquor guy. I like I like liquor, more than I do beer, when I'm out drinking, but and this gives me that vibe. I feel like a pirate. I feel like pirates only, baby. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see we got a little pirates only sign. And I love it. I love it. Obviously, being at 13.1, have two of these. Actually have one. Make sure you're not driving home. But have two of these, and you're probably gonna be on the couch. But they're definitely a solid beer. Seriously, one of my favorite. It's very good. Love the taste. Love the that sweet cinnamony rum flavor it gives off. So 9.1, boom, book it.
Nice for that.
Yeah.
But no, definitely excited to try some more stuff that they have coming out from there. But that's it. There's our show. We gave you guys that weekend roundup and the beer of the day. If you guys do have any, fantasy football questions, make sure you guys check us out Sunday for our live stream that we're going to be doing. We're going to be updating you guys on all of the inactives prior to the game, as well as any start sits you guys have, as well as some fun banter and conversation. Might even listen in on a possible FanDuel lineup that we do.
Every week.
Or whatever goes on. So make sure you guys check us out. Spend some time with us. That's generally at about 12 Eastern. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram. And then if you guys do have any questions and don't have time to tune in for that, you guys can reach us on Instagram and Twitter at thefantasytap. And then if you guys want to send us an email, we got that too.
Yep.
thefantasytap@gmail.com. Start sit lineups, roster adjustments, trades, anything you guys need, we've got you. Make sure you send it in.
Yes, you guys have been amazing today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're in the Sebastian area, hit us up first off, and then we'll all go to Mash Monkey and have a Marauders mutiny. We love you guys. Thanks so much. Let's get them dubs this week.